Hi everyone, this is Tanya from Flying Dog Studio. In this video, we will be taking a look at watercolor brushes. These brushes are from creatureartteacher.com and I will put that link below. As you can see, I have my brush set to, it's called sampled brush, but I have my brush and my blender and also the eraser set at the same sampled brush. And we like consistency when we're working with things. Now you can take a look at my layers. I have a background layer. That's what we're working on today. My drawing layer is underneath. Then I have a paper texture layer, which you can also download at that same link. And then the grid that I use to draw the piece out. And I will have a full-length video of this entire process, the time lapse on it, but I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a demonstration of how I use watercolor brush. Now you can see here I am sampling the color and I already have it drawn out. The background I have like just squiggle lines so I will know where to put the different colors that I'm using. And you can see the opacity on my brush is turned up to the max. Now I do like to adjust the size myself. These are pressure sensitive. So you will see that when I bear down harder, it doesn't necessarily make the brush stroke wider. Instead, it increases the intensity of the color. This is a simple going back and forth and sampling the color. And as you can see, coming up around, I don't worry about coloring inside or outside of lines or recoloring over another color because we are going to come back and blend. And at this point, the colors are very similar in shade, and you'll notice they are not picking up the same shades that you're seeing in the reference photo. Right now in this part, I'm picking up a blue. It is sort of a blue, but it's not the blue that we see in the reference photo. This happens sometimes when you are using downloaded photos from the internet, and since this is not something that I'm actually making money on, I'm not selling this, I'm simply doing it as a demo, illustration on here. So this, for some reason, colors just don't pick up. They come out in more of the gray area. So that's what you're seeing here. I do come back at the very end and correct that by adjusting my saturation and adjusting the lightness and the darkness of it. So you'll see I'm coming up here. And again, you can see how I'm overlapping colors, how I will press down a little too hard sometimes and get a darker color. But again, we're not worrying about that right now. We're going to come back and blend in a minute. Now, I do like to work one section at a time, just as I work with regular watercolors. And I tell my students when they're working in digital art, it helps to know how this type of medium works in real life. So it's good to work with watercolor and know how it reacts to paper, how it absorbs, how it moves, how much water to add. All right, now I have the blending brush, and again, I have set that to the watercolor. You can see my opacity is somewhere around 60%. And again, I adjust the size of the brush according to the area that I'm wanting to blend around. Now these brushes on the creatureartteacher.com are Aaron Blaze makes these brushes on there. And he used to work for Disney. And if you know Lion King or Brother Bear, if you've watched some of my other videos, you may have heard me mention Mr. Blaze. And I do enjoy his brushes. These are the cold press. Now you can purchase these usually as a pack. I'm not sure what he has available right now, but usually as a pack on his website. And the paper texture that you're seeing in the background came from that pack as well. So again, I'm moving the watercolor around, and what the blending brush does when it is set to the watercolor setting is it acts as if I have water on a brush and I am moving my color around. And I'm being rather random on this. I don't want anything too smooth. You don't want to overblend. So I'm only blending. You notice I'm not going over the whole thing. I'm sticking to the perimeters of my colors. I'm not going into the surfaces where I already have color unless I need to blend a little something in that area. You can overuse that blending brush, so be very careful when you do that. Now I have removed the lines. I've turned that layer off in this part of the process because I don't want those background lines to bother me. You can turn down the opacity, and you'll see later on when I'm doing the flower part of this piece and not the background that I do turn the opacity down. We're not going to show that in today's video. That will be in the full length video, process video that you can watch. I'm continuing on here, just blending these areas. We're almost to the end of the blending process. It's a very quick process. You are seeing this in actual time. I did not speed up this video. I do enjoy using watercolor on here. That is the medium that I believe I miss most and not working traditionally. And again, if you've watched my videos or read the blog, you'll know that I don't work in traditional media anymore because of arthritis. So this is one that I miss, and I do find that putting that texture in the background and then using the watercolor brush on top, it gives the same look. And you can see what that looks like without that background when I turn that background layer off that has the paper. It still looks like watercolor, but when you put the watercolor paper under it, it gives it a believability. And that's what you want to do. You want to trick the viewer into thinking they're looking at actual watercolor. Now, this part of the process, if I were using another medium, I might not come back in and actually erase inside the lines. And you can see I'm correcting there where I didn't get completely up to the edge. And I do that throughout when I actually start working on the flower. You'll see me do that as well because I do miss some spots. But do erase on this because this is more of a transparent medium because it is watercolor. But if I were working in something like pencil or perhaps one of the paint brushes like acrylic or a dry paint brush, I may not come back if I'm putting another layer on top, and my flower layers will be on top of this background layer. When I'm working in digital art, that is what I do. I go from the back to the front. Now you will see that the colors here are much brighter, and that's because I went back and adjusted all of that saturation and the lights and the darks at the very end. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please put those down below.